welcome to Richfaces. My name is Max Katz. I'm from XRL. We're actually the company behind Richfaces and Ajax for JSF. And this person right here, who is actually going to be speaking next, he is the creator of Richfaces. So any questions, you know who to ask. So about me, again, I oversee the strategy, development, and training at XRL. You can check out my blog and also on my Twitter. I published a book last year on Richfaces, and actually at 3:30 today there is I'm doing a book signing at the Java 1 bookstore, and I think you also get 20% off. And also there's a Richfaces ref card from D-Zone, which I was a co-author, and you can just pick one out. All right. So what is Richfaces? It's a JSF component. It's a rich JSF component library that has three main things. The first one are JSF Ajax components. So over 100 out-of-the-box, ready-to-use JSF Ajax components. Okay, so built-in, you don't worry about JavaScript, nothing. Second is skins. So you can change the look and feel of the application on the fly. Right? You can go make it all red or blue or whatever color you want. Okay? And number three is the CDK, which stands for Component Development Kit. It's basically a set of tools that the Richfaces team uses to build, test, create new components. And you can actually also use it if you would like. Okay, so those are the three main things. What else you should know? Runs in any servlet container, application server, portals, works with any JSF implementation. Of course, today is 1.2. Very soon it's going to support 2.0. Actually, I think the very first version should be available June, but October should be the final version that works with 2.0. Of course, works with Seam and Spring, and then also works with any third-party JSF component libraries. Okay. For the examples, I'm going to be using Jboss tools. Okay. There's Jboss tools or Jboss Developer Studio, similar, feature set. So just so you guys are aware of what I'm using. As for features and concepts, so these are the main concepts and features to start with Richfaces. First is how to send an Ajax request. Then partial view rendering. I mean, that's really important, right? Refreshing the whole page is pretty straightforward. Second is, third is partial page processing. Right? So we can control actually which components are processed on the server. Number four is controlling traffic, right? We don't want to be someone sitting there and hitting, submit every second. So we can actually make sure that that doesn't happen. JavaScript interaction, so there are places where you can actually inject custom JavaScript if you would like. Okay? If you don't need, then fine, but there is a number of places. Number six are the rich components, okay? And I'll show you what it is, and then skins. Okay, so we'll try to cover quickly everything here. But before I go into some slides, let me actually build something and show you how it looks. Okay. So going back to Jboss tools here, and so what I have is a pretty straightforward JSF application, just plain JSF. And let me run it for you so you can see what it does. Okay, so what it does is hello Java 1. Okay, so what it does, I'm going to click go. It basically redisplays the string, kind of an echo. And it also counts the length of the string, right? So looking at the manage bean here, okay, that's all it does. I mean, pretty straightforward. Or I mean, this is the action, okay? But it's an action that's being called on the server, so this is not a client side, right? Anyhow, so let's see how we would make this. An Ajax call. Basically, let's assume we have a lot of other components on the page. I mean, in reality, all you want to do is just re-render this part, correct? and then the count, the actual count. We don't need to render anything else. So let's see how we would do that. Okay. So first we're going to put a component that enables us to send an AJAX request to the server, and also enables us to say which components to render to re-render. Right? That's basically what we need. So the component is called basically H command button. There is A for J command button. As for the action, it's the same. We're really not changing what's happening on the server, right? The action is, and you can use this kind of a code assist that helps you. So if you don't have to type the whole thing, right? As for the value, we can just call this go AJAX. I mean, it doesn't matter. Okay. So we took care of actually sending an AJAX request to the server. So when this button is rendered, it will generate, will send all the JavaScript, everything that you need to make it available in the browser. Okay. One thing we need to say is which components, right, to render back. So we actually have to say which components in the JSF component tree we would like to render back. Okay. By default, just without AJAX, the whole tree is rendered. Okay. And so all the components that send an AJAX request have a re-render attribute, which simply points to IDs of components to render. Okay, it can be one component, it can be comma separated, it can be, point to a group of components like a panel, and it can even be an EL expression. So you can decide in runtime which components you would like to. Right. So in our case, this would be echo. Right. Echo is right here. Right? Anyhow, saving. Right? Now, it probably looks very, very similar to the original example. Well, it's running locally, right? We're not really doing anything. But just in case, you don't really believe me, there is this pretty simple test we can do. So if I do regular submit, the scroll bar will jump up because it's a full page refresh. So we can just delete something and click go. Notice this jumped up, right? Now, for AJAX, the bar will not jump up, right? Because we're not really refreshing the page. We're just modifying the DOM. So, right? So just in case you didn't believe me, so it is an AJAX request. All right. Now, to make it like a real an echo type application, right? The goal would be to actually, as we type, we would like to send the request, right? And then do the counting. So what we're going to do is we're going to add AJAX capability to our input text control. And the way this is done, using A4J support. Okay, that's a really powerful component. Can be used in any other JSF component. But basically what it does, it attaches itself to the parent component. Attaches based on what? Well, you always specify an event, a DHTML event. So the parent component needs to support that event. This is not just a random event that I decided to use. So in this case, this would be unkia. So anything the parent component supports, you can use. So in a way, you can AJAXify any component out there. Okay? The action is the same, right? And for same thing, right? Echo count. Right? So well, something, right? You can see that